Hi green lovers, it is the 9th of April and as you can see I have 4 beautiful ginger plants that we are going to uppot to their final destination. I will also show you exactly how I grew these ginger plants because we're going to get started on some new plants today. So stay tuned, coming right up. Now, in order to understand how best to get your ginger plant to grow, it is also important to understand how it grows naturally. Now, ginger is a tropical plant, which means that it grows in nice warm weather, which also has quite a high degree of humidity. So in my Northern California climate, I do have the hot part, but I do not have the humidity. So we are going to have to recreate that once it goes outside by making sure that the plant gets watered frequently. And really that's about all that there is to it. Ginger does have a long growing season, so you do want to start it early indoors if possible, and then when the weather warms up you can move it outdoors and let it thrive there until the weather gets cool. And after that, if you're in the colder climates, the plant will either die back itself, or if you're in the warmer climates, it will just stop growing and kind of cozy up for the winter, and it will start growing again once the weather warms up. So first is on the ginger selection. Now, the younger the better is the rule of the game when it comes to ginger. You do not want dried up looking ginger. In fact, when you're looking and selecting ginger in the grocery store, try to get organic and try to also see if they've got little nubs that are starting to grow just like this one right here. Because that way you know that it is inclined to grow and you'll get a head start on growing the plant. The next thing to do is to really just break off a piece of ginger that holds that plant, a bit of the rhizome, or you can cut it right about here and you will plant it. Let me go ahead and do that. So I have cut off this little piece of ginger. It's just 2 or 3 inches in size, and you can see that over here as well there is another eye that can potentially grow a ginger plant. So there will be at least a couple of plants that can potentially grow out of this one, but at least we're going to have one plant. So all you're going to do is you're going to take a container with some soil in it. I just use regular seed starting mix, and you're going to plant it. Now remember that a ginger plant is a rhizome, so it doesn't develop very deep roots and it tends to have a horizontal growth pattern. So what you want to do to encourage it to grow even faster is you want to cover it to create that humidity, or you can put this in a plastic bag. I just happen to have a lid. And then you want to put it on a heat mat to create that warmth. Especially if you're in a colder climate, the warmth is necessary. For me, it's not, but I do find that it speeds up the growth of the plant substantially. Now this one, in about a week, at the most 2 weeks, I should have plenty of growth coming out of this. So now let's go ahead and talk about how we are going to transplant this to its final destination. Another way to do it is like I have done here, is all you do is you break off just this little growing nub, and I will do it right now, just like that, and plant it. Now, because it does not have too much of the mother plant to feed off of, it is going to grow much more slowly, but it will grow. In fact, let me show you what this looks like underneath. This is about, I'd say maybe 15 days that I've had it in here, and you can see little white roots coming out. So really that's all you need, is that little nub. It will grow faster if you plant the entire a bit of the rhizome as well, but it should do just fine growing just from that little growing nub. So the first thing you need is obviously a container, or you can plant it directly into the soil in your garden. I prefer to use a container because I want to control where this sits. If I put it in a place in my garden where it gets too much of that dry California heat, I want to be able to move it to a more shaded area. So I'm planting in a container. It grows fantastic in containers, and the container does not have to be too deep. This one's about 8 inches tall, and I had this wooden box lying around. I lined it with some plastic. This is all that it needs, and the rhizome is going to grow horizontally, and the root system is going to be really, really shallow. In fact, I will show you what the root system of these plants looks like. So let's pull out one of them. So for a plant of this size, really that's all the root system is. Pretty shallow, not very extensive. So that's all you need. It's not a very heavy feeder either, because, I mean, look at it. There's not much going on here. Most of the energy goes into the root. So just an average potting soil, I throw in a bit of organic granular fertilizer and mix it in. That's all you need for this. And what you want to do is, I like to cut off this part that about a half inch or so around the plant itself, so that way I can go and replant the rest of it and hopefully get some more plants. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this and show you what it looks like. So I've cut off this little piece, and that's about all you need around it. You can see it's already generating 2 new shoots here, so those will grow once I plant it up in this container. And this piece is also a nice firm piece, not squishy or anything, and it's got a couple of nubs that are growing. So this will also go into the starter container. I'm going to put it back in this container, and it's going to continue to grow new shoots, and I'll have new ginger plants to plant up again into my container. So let's go ahead and do that. That's really all that it takes. I've got 4 plants, so I'm going to plant it in the 4 corners of this bed. Press it in here. I'm going to make sure that the soil is moist at all times. That is one thing about ginger. It likes moist soil because it is a tropical plant, loves the humidity. That's all you need to do. Don't give it too much sun. Even though it likes the hot weather, it does not like burning sun. So keep it in a place where it gets a good deal of morning sun, ideally, but not that afternoon heat. So that's it. That's how simple it is to grow ginger, to up-pot it, and then to harvest it at the end of the year. Nothing like growing your own ginger. And here's the other thing. You can harvest the green ginger, the mild-tasting, delicious green ginger as well. And so you can really harvest this at many stages, and while still maintaining growth in the main plant. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you give this a try. And until next time, live green and love your greens.